Okay, the purge seems to be sort of continuing. Um, Microsoft has threatened Gab with the removal of the site from, you know, the Microsoft's cloud service, because apparently um, there were two posts uh, um, on the Gab service that Microsoft were notified, and so you see what you get if someone is a real nasty piece of work, wants to get someone removed, banned. They've either gone to the founders of Gab and said, look, this person is promoting hate speech. They've probably said, look, you know, they can say whatever they want and it's not a real problem. And they've not done anything. They've then gone running to Microsoft because they feel they haven't got service from Microsoft, and reported to Microsoft and said, you need to warn these people that they're promoting hate speech. Microsoft have now looked at the content in question, these two anti-Semitic posts, and then have gone back to the founder of Gab and said, you need to remove these posts, otherwise we will shut your website down. I mean, what business really has Microsoft to be telling? It is a host, and what it needs to do is direct those people back to Gab and say, you need to speak to them and tell them directly that there is a problem with these speeches, and get them to remove it. I mean, it's like people will complain to Facebook that there's a problem with this particular post, and if Facebook doesn't remove it, what then you start and leave it on? What you then go and look for the service provider for Facebook and report to them to do what? To close Facebook down? Oh, but then saying that, sorry, Facebook has their own infrastructure. Facebook, I don't think, uses anybody. They've got their own infrastructure, so they won't have this problem as such. Let's go through this. 2 anti-Semitic posts have been deleted from fringe social network Gab after Microsoft, citing the content, threatened to take the site down. Wow. You know what? I hope Gab, once they remove their network, find another service provider or set up their own infrastructure, sues Microsoft. Because Microsoft shouldn't be having any business dictating to a company and telling a company how they should run their website. It's got nothing to do with Microsoft. The posts made by Patrick Little, who says he is running for US president and wants to remove Jewish people from America, is clearly a nutcase and a loon. But he's now got his sort of 15 minutes of fame, which he's obviously quite happy about, and it's now in the news. Microsoft hosts Gab on its cloud service. Gab's founder Andrew Torban, just call him Andrew, said that one of the posts unquestionably broke the site's rules. The BBC has sent a request to Gab for a comment. The social network describes itself as a platform for free speech, but much of the content on the site presents far-right viewpoints, including racist and anti-Semitic posts. Doesn't Twitter represent some far-right people as well as probably a little bit of mild anti-Semitic posts? I think because of the situation what occurred with World War II and the Jews, I think for the next millennia, certainly in the next 1,000 years, you cannot at any point make any joke or about or even racist jokes on that will just be completely picked up by every man and his dog. What this guy said is distasteful. But if this platform is really saying that it's going to be, the bastion of free speech, then we need to know what free speech means. We really do. We need to know what free speech. And if Microsoft, by threatening Gab, has broken Gab's First Amendment rights by threatening to bring its website, it needs to be taken to court. It needs to be taken to court. Gab's hosting provider, Microsoft, had given them 48 hours to take action on 2 posts. So you've got Microsoft being judge and jury when it's got nothing to do with them. I think hopefully this will get Microsoft into some massive hot water, and I hope Mr. Andrew Torbay is going to sue Microsoft once he removes him. I mean, doesn't he have to remove his site? He can go after Microsoft today and sue them, because I don't think Microsoft has the right to do that, to dictate to a business how they run their website. This guy's not running porn. This guy's not running anything dark web or something really, really bad. This was 2 comments that should have been dealt, or could have been, or maybe not even been dealt with by Gab. They may have decided, no, we're a free speech site and they're free, and we don't believe that they quite fully violated their rights. But they've been forced to remove both these posts, even though they said that one of them definitely was a problem. They've been forced to eventually remove this post because of Microsoft. Microsoft needs to be sued, or at least taken to court. They don't have any business to be telling a company how they should run their business. Not Microsoft. So they gave them 40 hours to take action on the 2 posts, or they will put our service and Gab will go down. Pull our service and Gab will go down for weeks, months. He wrote on the site. Microsoft said it had received a third-party complaint. So what? It's got nothing to do. Microsoft should have ignored that complaint. It's got nothing to do with Microsoft. They should have effectively thrown it in a bin, or guided that person back to Gab and say, you need to take it up with Gab. About Mr. Little's post, which were described as malicious activity in a message to Mr. Torban, requesting that they be removed. So Microsoft is dictating to a company, like as I said, keep saying, how they run their business. Yeah. So they've been described as phishing URLs, which people say it doesn't look like they were. We believe we have an important responsibility, this is Microsoft, to ensure that our services are not abused by people and groups seeking to incite violence. The tech giant said in a statement. Gab is, of course, free to choose otherwise and work with another service provider or host this content itself, which I hope it does, because this is the we read through. Mr. Torban acknowledged that one of Mr. Little's posts did break the user guidelines. He accused Mr. Little of playing games. After Mr. Little said he would delete the post himself, but did not. I mean, clearly Mr. Little is mentally ill or has a mental problem, but that's beside the point. The point is that what he says is part of free speech and should be part of free speech. We took action and removed both posts. So he was forced to bring that, even though one of them may have been okay, he had to bring them both down. We had no choice. His hand was forced by Microsoft, not by the courts, but by Microsoft. Microsoft decided to be the judge and jury. We are actively looking into other hosting providers, and our long-term goal is building our own infrastructure, which is the only way you can go to get out of the grip of these, left-wing tech companies. He added that he believed that taking the post down as the best decision for the longevity of the platform and the war against Silicon Valley. So he, the acknowledgement he has, he knows he's dealing with Silicon Valley, who are left-leaning, and he had no choice, because otherwise, his website would be dropped. He would then have to find another service provider, because obviously the site is growing slowly, and hopefully with more and more people, know Gab, it will get bigger and bigger. So there was some issue. Apparently, the post would. Mr. Little had previously said he would delete the post and stated that this is a violation of rights as Americans. Blah blah blah. Again, the guy is a mentally ill nutcase. Shortly afterwards, Gab's official Twitter account said Mr. Little did remove the post. However, this was subsequently contradicted by Andrew, who said it was Gab that had stepped in to delete them. So Gab had to take Google to court, file a lawsuit against Google after the social network removed. The social network was removed from play. So they had an app on the Android website, and Google has removed them, which is what they are going to probably try and do with InfoWars, even though InfoWars has got to #1 as trending at #1 on the Android app store. Gab has become more prominent at a time when the extent of which free speech should be allowed on the web is being hotly debated and controlled by the bastards on the left, who want to bring in a 1984 scenario. They really want to clamp down on the net. They really want to bring regulations in on the internet, and to be able to control all the social networks completely. But this will be in the hands of the left. That's why they're trying to remove all the conservative sites off the internet. As certainly off the social media networks, remove them completely. This is the problem. a number of tech giants have removed content by Alex Jones. Apple, Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify all decided within a few hours of each other. So they obviously had planned this amongst the three of them. Decided to take down some or all of Jones's videos or podcasts, citing rules against hate speech. But here in the UK, extraordinary. On the 9th of August, a man who used Gab to call for Muslims to be burnt on bonfires or gassed was jailed for 16 months. So this is the problem now. We're getting to the point where, I mean, Muslims could say that about Christians. They could say that Christians need to be crucified, burnt at the stake or whatever. I mean, the same person, Jonathan Jennings. Again, this is a guy who is mentally unstable. Also threatened to kill Jeremy Corbyn if he became Prime Minister, and said Gina Miller, a pro-EU campaigner, should be executed. So, just saying, he pleaded guilty to 6 counts of publishing or distributing written material intended to stir up religious hatred, and 4 counts of sending communications with intent to cause distress or anxiety. So this is a guy who's just used a few words on the Gab service. Yeah, in America, a guy had gone around with a bike lock and cracked open people's head with a bike lock. But has not been in prison. He's been put on probation for 3 years. So escapes prison completely, yet causes literally grievous bodily harm to people. I saw the video of him cracking one guy over the head, and this guy is literally, I mean, he was sitting down and he gets up in agony, he's holding his head, and you can see blood is starting to come from a little bit from the wound. It's like, what is going on? What is going on? The left is really trying its best to put conservatives, people of a conservative mindset, into prison. I've got, this guy Jonathan is obviously on more of a far right, than an ordinary right of centre conservative. But it's getting worrying now. What more is going to come out? I've already had a community strike on me because I've spoken against Black Lives Matter. The left is really going out of its way, chasing people who have an alternative, either true libertarian viewpoint or right of centre viewpoint. If you have to be in the camp of the left, period. And if you're not, they're going to try and come after you, period. We guys on the right need to stand up. We've got to start standing up and defending our rights to free speech, because the left will, at some point or other, put everybody into 1984 scenario so they can control the general public. If we're not careful, it will happen. Thanks for listening.